All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135/140 pound division where Gervonta Tank Davis has gotten a major offer to fight someone for a championship belt whose name is not Ryan Garcia, and we should take that seriously because I don't believe Oscar De La Hoya about that fight as far as I can throw YouTube. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135/140 pound divisions where Gervonta Tank Davis has had his negotiations with Ryan Garcia for a major fight held up by a contract dispute that has come out of the blue, but however, everybody and anybody should have seen coming. However, there is a silver lining, and I'm telling you, I like to get to the silver lining because somebody else has offered Gervonta Davis a fight, and that is Regis Prograis for the 140 pound WBC championship. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. If you are new to the channel, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. And thank you for checking out this video. Now let's get into this because, man, enough is enough with this new way to duck fighters. I'm just going to use the word duck, man. People use duck so much now. I used to be hesitant to use it, but now it is what it is. It's rolling off my tongue like people using the word cap. This new way to duck that is going on around in boxing where one person says they want to fight the other guy. They get into the negotiations. And then the person that is eventually going to pull out of the negotiations claims they've accepted everything. All terms have done. Everything is done. All we need is a signature. It's right there, except for one little minor thing that I'm sure will not hold up the fight. And then the closer we get to the fight, the longer we wait. keep waiting. And then within a reasonable amount of time, all of a sudden, some big issue pops up. And that is the cycle that we are in with Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. But just to tell you about how we've experienced this before, we obviously have experienced this with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., where Terrence Crawford about his team and the same people that are reporting this issue coming up with Ryan Garcia, Mike Coppinger, comes out and says all the material terms are completed. We've all come to an agreement. There's only one little thing holding it up, right? And then as time goes on, boom, something winds up popping up, and then the fight gets canceled, and why is it? Because it's something you didn't do, right? One of the promoters didn't do. Mike Coppinger also pulled that, I do believe, with Teofimo Lopez fighting somebody where he jumped at Bob Arum and talked about Bob Arum, started telling Bob Arum exactly why the fight didn't start. Well, the fight didn't happen because you didn't pay, because you wouldn't give him enough money. Isn't that right, Bob? Right? That particular movement. Then we move on to the Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence one. Then we got a new little mix in it with the Jason Maloney, where Jason Maloney's camp came out and said that they were in talks with Nonito Donaire in order, to fight for the vacant WBC title that was dropped by that was going to be and ultimately was vacated by Monster Inoue. They were in negotiations, and Donaire's camp had to come out and say, man, we haven't even been in talks, for them to ultimately back out of the fight and not take it and go fight somebody else and leave Nonito Donaire fighting somebody else for that vacant belt. And so now you have the same thing again with Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. Now, I'm not blaming Ryan Garcia because everything that I can see and hear out of Ryan Garcia is that he's really the one in that side that is really trying to push for the fight. I believe it when I hear him that he's really trying to make the fight. They've been trying to make this fight for at least 2 years now. And Ryan Garcia was the only one that was consistent the entire time. Oscar De La Hoya didn't want it before. Then Oscar De La Hoya says that he's agreed to everything and we're right there. It's all done. And then boom, out comes the propaganda with this. Oh, well, we're waiting on this just one issue. Even though when Steven Espinoza was interviewed about it by Chicken Talk, shout out to Chicken Talk, he was like, we just sent them a revised edition and we didn't even hear anything back from DAZN. So anyway, I'm not holding my breath on Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya being able to make this fight with Gervonta Davis. I think it's another publicity stunt and a way for these guys to save face and keep from putting Ryan in there with Gervonta, and keep having Ryan do the same type of fights that Jaime Munguia is doing and that Virgil Ortiz are doing, which are winnable fights that keep you fighting more often. Do not believe that DAZN is interested in making a pay-per-view star out of Ryan Garcia or anything like that, because that's not their primary way that they function. So when Regis Prograis says, hey, look, man, I'll get in the middle of that, that seems to me to be a very, very good option for either Gervonta Davis or Ryan Garcia, a fight for the WBC championship with Regis Prograis. Now, for Gervonta Davis, that's a very winnable fight for Gervonta for the WBC 140-pound championship. Only problem with that for Gervonta is that Gervonta's not going to stay at that weight class and campaign at that weight class campaign at that weight class. However, for Ryan Garcia, that very well could be the ticket because number one, there's a lot of similarities between Regis Prograis and Gervonta Davis. There's a lot of differences, but also there's a lot of similarities. They're both southpaws. They're both shorter fighters, power punchers, right? Guys that will come forward on you. I don't think Regis Prograis is necessarily as versatile and as highly skilled as Gervonta Davis is, but he's as highly skilled as almost anybody in that division. And what Regis Prograis brings is he brings that heat to you. Slips punches, counters punches, just a very, very, very excellent fighter. And if either one of these guys were to fight Regis Prograis, I would love it. And more importantly than just, whether or not, okay, is it a better fight for Ryan than Tank? Is it a better fight for Tank than Ryan is? Aside from that, it's a fight that we could actually see take place because Regis Prograis would actually take that fight. When he says, yeah, man, I'll fill in, feel free to fight me. I doubt very much he's talking about coming down to 135, but since he's the WBC champion at 140, that's a championship fight, man. And that's something that either one of those guys, it would be a really good fight for them. Now, me personally, people I've been pitching to get that Gary Russell Gervonta Davis fight because I'm a Gary Russell Jr. fan, and I thought that fight would be good several years ago. I still think it'd be a good fight, but at this point in time, I'll just take anything over continuing to talk about these fights that you can just look on the bulletin board, add up the facts and say, man, that's probably not going to happen. Different promoters. One guy's a heavy favorite. This guy over here is a guy, a future cash cow, and one of the few fighters that one of those promoters even have. So why are they going to feed? It almost looks like they would be feeding it to him. Those guys are going to try to, if you were looking at just from a matchmaking standpoint, you wouldn't see the fight getting done. All of those things, man. So instead of talking about all these big fights that don't get made, let's talk about some good, decent fights that can get made and watch those fights and chop it up and let those fighters get an opportunity to get on the stage, like Regis Prograis, like Gary Russell Jr. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.